we're going to proceed down the panel. I have to now have my practice session here. Mr. Trubkovich.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The
All
name
right.
is Lev Trubkovich, just for future reference.
What?
Lev Trubkovich.
Trubkovich. Well, I thought when you congratulated me, I had done it right. But I guess not. Trubkovich.
No,
Okay.
that's perfectly right. It's Russian.
Oh, yes.
All right. Good afternoon, Chairperson Graham, members of the committee. My name is Lev Trubkovich, and I'm here today to give two brief statements on behalf of Foggy Bottom Association President and ANC2A03 Commissioner Asher Corson, and on behalf of ANC2A06. The statement provided by ANC2A06 is as follows. At the outset, I would like to acknowledge that the Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration has many professional and highly competent career staff members, and my testimony is not directed towards them. Sadly, however, the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, under its current chairman, has abandoned any semblance of fairness and has become an advocate of the licenses, as the rulings our ANC has received from the board are, quite frankly, inexplicable. In 2010, our ANC participated in several board proceedings before Chairman Brodsky, where the licensee was always represented by attorney Manny Mapras. In these hearings, Chairman Brodsky made bewildering, dispositive, and evidentiary rulings. The board's rulings were ultimately inexplicable from a legal perspective and reversed established board precedent. Therefore, in March 2011, my fellow ANC commissioners and I were concerned when we read in the Washington Examiner, the Georgetown Dish, and the WTOP site that Mr. Mapras and Chairman Brodsky are friends, which was never disclosed to us in our dealings with the board. We were concerned to see in the Georgetown Dish the picture of Mr. Mapras and Chairman Brodsky partying together in Detroit, which apparently Chairman Brodsky posted on his Facebook page. And we were concerned to read allegations that Chairman Brodsky invited Mr. Mapras to his birthday party, given this undisclosed relationship and the press articles that report Brodsky has been charged with manipulating board decisions to advance his private business, most recently by fellow board member Mintal Gandhi. That's a quote. We wondered whether Mr. Mapras and Chairman Brodsky had been engaging in undisclosed ex parte communications about our board proceedings in light of these news reports. Like the policy reversal in the Washington Wholesale LLC situation, established board orders were reversed in our situation, and the only thing that changed was that Mr. Mapras started representing the licensee. Mr. Mapras started recently representing this nightclub establishment that is adjacent to a residential area in the West End Foggy Bottom neighborhood. This particular nightclub has been the scene of fights involving Washington Wizards players, so serious that the players involved were suspended from a Wizards game. Police reports document assaults by other nightclub patrons that, for example, injured Metropolitan Police Department officers. In the view of ANC2A, this particular nightclub licensee... Go ahead. May I have more time, please? Thank you. In the view of ANC2A, this particular nightclub licensee has not addressed neighborhood concerns with these incidents and accompanying noise and trash issues caused by club patrons. In 2010, Mr. Mapras started representing this nightclub establishment. The ANC2A and neighbors protested this nightclub's application for a new retail CN nightclub license. The problem was that the same owners already had an existing retail CN nightclub license for the identical space. It was obvious that this new nightclub license was just an attempt to circumvent the board's 2007 order that limited the existing nightclub's hours and capacity at this location. It was also obvious that the purpose of this duplicative retail CN license filed by these same owners was to prevent the ANC and neighbors from introducing evidence of the incidents at the existing nightclub at a hearing on substantial change of the existing retail CN license. Before the protest hearing started on this allegedly new nightclub license, Chairman Brodsky knew that a retail CN nightclub license already existed for this location. In 2008, ANC2A had entered into a voluntary agreement with the principals of the original nightclub, who coincidentally are the same principals of new nightclub in the same location. This voluntary agreement permitted the nightclub increased hours, relying on the fact that these principals agreed to withdraw their substantial change application for increased occupancy. Chairman Brodsky signed the very board order approving this voluntary agreement, which states that the existing retail CN license covers the identical location sought in the new license application. At the 2010 protest hearing on the supposedly new nightclub license application, Chairman Brodsky orally denied ANC2A's and Neighbor's motion to dismiss. The board then issued a written order denying the motion to dismiss and granting the new duplicate license on August 4th, 2010. This order completely contradicts the board's 2007 prior order, which was clear that the space at issue was already subject to a retail CN license. The only thing that changed was that Manny Impras was now representing the nightclub owners. At the April 2010 protest hearing, Chairman Brodsky also made a series of baffling evidentiary rulings that always favored the licensee. For example, Chairman Brodsky refused to let neighborhood witnesses testify about incidents involving ambulances and police disturbances at the existing nightclub on the basis that their testimony was not relevant. He refused to admit police reports of repeated incidents and neighborhood disturbances, such as assault with a deadly weapon, into the record. And he refused to admit into the record other evidence that supported the protestants' position that increased occupancy of 300 additional persons at the same location to the existing 300 licensed occupancy would be detrimental to the neighborhood.
Could you summarize your testimony, please?
One paragraph. On August 4th, 2010, the board granted this duplicative retail CN license, which will now mean that any liquor licensee unhappy with a prior board order and/or ANC voluntary agreement that limits occupancy or hours need only file a new application for the same license class. In this way, the applicant's operating history will not be considered when seeking expansion of hours and occupancy at the same location. Finally, the board's chair is a controlling person in Washington Sports and Event Management Incorporated. He has appeared before ANCs requesting street closures, giving rise to conflict of interest questions in his chairing protest hearings involving those same ANCs. Chairman Brodsky appeared in his capacity as a representative of Washington Sports and Events Management at the very same ANC2A meeting where the ANC2A nightclub protest, over which he later presided, was considered. These actions on the part of Chairman Brodsky are of concern to all members of ANC2A and our constituents. That concludes the statement from ANC2A06. On to ANC2A03 from Asher Corson. I hope I have 3 minutes for his testimony. No, I certainly do.
We'll admit that testimony into the record. We'll admit that testimony.
May I have 3 minutes for ANC2A03's?
No, we will admit it into the record. We'll admit it into the record. You have read one. I provided you for 8 minutes to read one witness's statement. And so we'll admit the other one into the record, and we will review it.